welcome to Elets eHealth Innovation Talk, a series where we speak to industry players and thought leaders about their revolutionary business ideas and innovations that are transforming the healthcare sector. Joining us today, we have Mr. Gaurav Kaushik, Managing Director and CEO, Meteoric Biopharmaceuticals. Welcome, Mr. Kaushik. Thank you for joining us. Mr.
Thank
Gaurav
you.
Kaushik is a young and dynamic first generation entrepreneur, and under his leadership, Meteoric Biopharmaceuticals Private Limited, with over 100 products, is a leading name in the biopharma landscape across the globe. So, Mr. Kaushik, thank you so much for joining us. To begin with, if you could elaborate on the journey of Meteoric Biopharmaceuticals, its USP, and how did the pandemic affect the passage of growth for your organization?
Thank you, Karima, for inviting me on this program. And The journey of Meteoric Biopharmaceuticals started in 2006 with the objective to work on a very niche and novel biological products. And since then, we have worked very efficiently for the entire industry to work more on replacing synthetic and hazardous chemical and different APIs. And so far, we have been very successful in developing very cost-effective biotic solutions from the whole industry, in which pharmaceuticals and food additives and nutraceuticals are our main forte. So we are capturing the majority part of human healthcare, animal healthcare sector, and beside that, we are also working actively with some industries like paper pulp, sugar industry, textile, detergent, distillery, effluent and discharge management also. So coming back to this pandemic situation, like every company, we also faced great challenges because every pandemic wave came with its own offering and challenges. And particularly when there is shift on industry like us, when we have to work very efficiently without disrupting the supply chain and offering more product in the immunomodulator segment. So all the wave was wave we have we have been very much challenged by the entire stakeholders and the industry. And since we are very active in export market in which US, Europe, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Brazil, these are main market out of total 70 destinations. So we work with very limited capacity. We could not work on the full capacity of the facility, but
Right.
we didn't compromise on the quality and the supply chain. Even the freight cost and supply chain situation was very tough, but we continued the supply to all our premier customers in India, out of country also. And this is how we have also achieved certain good quantum of growth also in this pandemic situation. The most shift was on probiotics, enzyme sites, and very efficient formulations in the immunomodulator segment.
Right, right. So, have you seen the pandemic, affect, the psyche of people regarding healthcare? Have you seen it evolve? And how has it given an opportunity for you to grow?
Yes, certainly, this pandemic situation, it has, there was a very tremendous shift on the entire, the knowledge awareness on the customer base particularly. Customer tried, to get educated themselves and about the product, and there was a completely the dynamics of pharmaceutical industry got changed after this pandemic situation because lot of luxury medicine, what we say, lot of certain additives was found not helping. So after this pandemic situation, when people thought about curative and preventive disease segment or the well-being, so then the shift on companies like us, like those who are into biopharmaceuticals, bioprocesses, nutraceutical, then company customer then try to educate themselves on the product they are consuming. There was a more shift on preventive wellness, preventive diseases. Lifestyle is already what is a big challenge. So we see a very good tremendous amount of knowledge awareness among the customers to get aware of this immune segment particularly, and containing the not only consuming the product but also getting the awareness of this. And the most interesting part to see this this trend from coming from rural market. So that was the very that was a very unexpected the reflection that we came across. Because if you think about Indian market, the most focus of nutraceuticals and the product like this, it's the shift is on south, and
Right.
the trend is coming to north and east. But this was the first time when from the rural market also, the consumer, they wanted to know about this segment. What are probiotics, what are enzymes, how nutraceuticals can help us, and how they can they can be ready for the next pandemic or the situation to come. So we have
Mhm.
seen this nice trend. And the companies like Europe, USA, which consist almost of 90% of nutraceutical market, and they thought that this segment, by this they can really prevent this pandemic to explore, and they can get ready for next situation which the whole industry can may face.
Right. So very interesting, that you mentioned the rural market here. So
Yeah.
in terms of, educating that customer base, so what were the kind of initiatives that your organization took?
Yeah. See, some this biopharmaceuticals, they are very typical in terms of a typical, like a typical pharmaceutical segment. When you have the very old medicines that you are consuming, what trend from rural market came, like first of all, they know they have this idea that nutraceuticals mean herbs. So this
Hmm.
was a kind of knowledge that we give. The nutraceuticals is not about herbs and botanicals. There's something beyond this. So since they this rural market thinks more of consuming the natural product and
Right.
biological product.
Hmm.
So that me and our team, they particularly work on to give a right balance between what is a biological process and product, and how it is very different than a synthetic and the typical pharmaceutical that we talk about. So with this awareness, they wanted to explore that how combining this nutraceutical, probiotic, enzymes, and herbals, and some standard botanicals. I mean to say about the not about the house which is coming from the rural sector, but how the extracts can help, how the purity of that herbs can help. So
Right.
this education they wanted to have. And thereafter, that was a completely backward integration, where they wanted to consume those product, and not the synthetic and API pharmaceuticals, this we say. So the getting knowledge about, and this this develop a very good credibility, because
Right.
when you handle this type of product, and if you're not educating customers, because we see unlike other market, India market also, there is a lot of things are not going on prescription.
Hmm.
If you meet a doctor, hardly they will prescribe you something from this segment. Some very there are very few examples of, even in the probiotic segment, like some doctors are recommending. So self education among the customers, from the rural customer particularly, understanding what is the biological process, how a biopharma is very different from a typical pharmaceutical segment, and then they started consuming this product. That was a very big boost for a company like us.
Right, right. Very, very interesting journey that you undertook. Right, in terms of the nutraceutical market in the present business environment,
Yeah.
what would you see, are the primary challenges that you're facing, and of course the solutions that you're coming up with?
Yeah. See, if you see the numbers, as I mentioned earlier, like US, Europe, and Japan, they consist of 90% of this market,
Hmm.
and India is hardly 2% in 19, in 20, in this in recently 2 years back. Now, the since this industry and this company has come to some maturity level, that is
Hmm.
why they are moving towards Asia Pacific, and India is one of the most important destination for them. So now the market share is going increasing from 2 to 3.5 and 4%, and more than that. So since we have advantage of having on the geographical and agroclimatic advantage of certain good quality botanical and herbs, thereafter, since this industry after pandemic has really worked upon to that there should be complete agility in terms of high risk research and development. So this nutraceutical market has given a very big boost. The market itself, India, is growing. And since this company have attained certain kind of maturity in terms of product development also, now they are
Right.
moving to Indian companies to develop some more combinations of certain premixes of probiotic and enzyme and some nutraceutical item. Except this, there are a lot of shift on launching of certain biological product, like innovative or new strains of probiotics, bacteria, and also working on the health benefits. So India is one of the great market, for if there is some advanced clinicals or CROs to be done. So we
Right.
have seen the trend is coming up, and since the market itself is growing, right
Hmm.
from south till rural sector and the northeast also. So, and the customer awareness. and shift on having more on preventive and curative health and well-being. So the trend is quite optimistic.
Perfect, perfect. So, you've already mentioned the upcoming trends in the biopharma industry. So, in terms of the future business opportunities, what are they that you're looking at, and how do you see the organization shaping up in the coming few years?
Yeah. See, after the success of COVID vaccines and lot of immunomodulators and lot of healthcare product and wellness product which is coming out from India. So now, and when this product has to be launched immediately with a few months, like vaccines come in a few months, the formulations and some biological, immediately, after a lot of company they are getting pressure from many overseas country to supply certain product and offer more product in immune category. So company like us, they imbibe all the efforts, like whether it is R&D, digitalization, automation. So everything was make into the focus. All elements were very extensively researched, that how in short span of time we can do this, and technology consists the major part, and also into the agility into R&D also, that also helped. So for I have seen witness in industry all over the world, but typically into biopharma, where you have very typical set of complex manufacturing processes, handling genes, genetic engineering, GMOs,
Hmm.
etc. So in that we have seen that automation was the very big helpful thing. Like you want to cater multiple things from the same device. Robotics also we have came across. We don't have, but I have seen many companies they have solved this problem, and and making the efficient supply chain activities, like getting timely data, inventory data, and surprisingly when you see that the very advanced things has come up in this area is of virtual clinical trial. Like
Okay.
clinical trial is a very big very big assignment when company like us, when we launch something biological, then we have to expose with a lot of huge amount of agencies, and then they contact small hospital, clinic or customers to get this product used and give us data. But virtual clinical trial, we also practice in 1 or 2 hour probiotic, in which we contacted certain agencies, and based on the data that we gave, that we got all mobile data and the idea of customers. So data analysis part, automation, and combining with robotics and very efficient, supply chain activity by getting the numbers,
Right.
inventory, and this timely information helped us to design certain more agility into advancement into R&D and D and technology to cater the need. And I think this trend will be increasing, and a lot of things are coming up to make this more advanced, and the best in quality.
Right, right, right. Perfect. So you talked about the increasing role of the that technology is playing in transforming business practices, and of course laying down the future roadmap. I would like to understand from you, just probably one of the last questions, that how can a collaborative environment be built for faster adoption of innovations in the healthcare ecosystem?
Yeah. See, adoption is not very easy. Like when you see, because since in biopharmaceuticals we handle very tough and different processes, like fermentation processes, bioprocess, and then that way it becomes very challenging to shift the production on this advanced technology. But we have seen, once it is quality is not compromised and you are getting the
Hmm.
right output, and the most good part, even though it is a very cost intensive in during adoption, but when you are getting the cost, the landing cost, getting some advantage in that, then thereafter you don't have to over depend upon the labor. And because when you run the biopharma facility, you want that it should be a minimal, the manpower involvement because of contamination and other issues. So technology has taken over certain very advanced bioprocesses, which is helping companies not only for the cost effectiveness but also getting the batches and output on time. And it is also further helping in the analysis part,
Right.
because analysis the very crucial part of industry like we work, the analyzing the bacteria, analyzing the vaccines and lot of biological and biocatalysts and biosimilars. So even it is also cutting cost and timing, and getting a very good output when in terms of analysis of the product coming. So all elements, right from procurement till releasing of the batches, up to the quality analysis, and also satisfying the regulatory, not only for India but abroad also. So it is helping. So once they see that certain processes is being adopted by certain advancement in technology, even the regulatory also, they are welcoming this, that you should be
Right.
coming with more technology advancement. So it's very easy for you to get product registered and released into the industrial market. And since after the COVID, since the entire pharmaceutical industry faced a very huge dynamics, so the pressure was also on the pricing.
Right.
So when you are adopting these technologies, so it is not only helping you to be on time, but is also helping a very good price with which
Hmm.
industry can use for R&D. And also they can also make the product competitive when we are known as a pharmacy capital of the world. So this will
Right.
boost further.
Right, right. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kaushik. I think it was wonderful, getting an insight into the journey that, Meteoric Biopharmaceuticals is planning in the future, and of course the journey it has undertaken. So wonderful, interacting with you, and thank you so much for being here at Elets Innovation Talk.
Thank you very much.